Hello, guys. Hello. How are you doing today? I really hope that you all are safe and you all are doing great. And when it comes to today's lesson 4, and we're going to talk about Agile and Scrum Basics. What exactly are you going to learn today? You're going to learn how to understand and talk about Agile and Scrum in the workplace, 12 key vocabulary words with phonetics, some grammar, present simple for processes, and passive voice basic, and how to discuss methodology confidently in meetings and with your team. So, as always, you can find this worksheet and much more useful content in our Telegram channel and other social media. You can type in this routine stance, or you can scan the QR code and you will be directed in there. So, let's start with our core vocabulary. Agile. What is an agile? That's a flexible, interactive, iterative approach to project management. Our company works in an agile way. Yep, Scrum. A specific agile framework with defined roles and ceremonies. We use Scrum to manage our product development. Sprint. A short, fixed period of work, usually 1-2 weeks. Backlog, a list of tasks and features to be done. The product owner manages the product backlog. Stand up, a short daily meeting where the team shares updates. We have a stand up every morning at 10. Retrospective, a meeting to reflect on the last sprint and improve. In the retrospective, we discuss what went well and what to improve. Velocity, how much work a team completes in one sprint. Our velocity has improved since we reduced the team's workload. Iteration, one cycle of work, another word for sprint. Each iteration produces a working version of the product. Increment, a usable product delivered at the end of the sprint. Each increment adds new functionality to the product. Kanban, a visual agile method using boards and cards to manage flow. The support team uses a Kanban board to track requests. Ceremony, a regular Scrum meeting, stand-up planning, review, retro. Sprint planning is one of the 4 Scrum ceremonies. User story, a short description of a feature from a user's perspective. We write user stories to describe what the product should do. And some pro tips for you guys. People often confuse Agile and Scrum. Please think of it in this way. Agile is the philosophy, it's the mindset and set of values. But Scrum is one way to apply that philosophy. It is a specific framework with defined roles, ceremonies, and rules. You can be agile without using Scrum, but Scrum is always agile. You cannot be Scrum without agile. So, some grammar, present simple for processes and basic passive. When it comes to structure, present simple, we use it to describe how things regularly work. If you're curious about how to build the present simple sentence, you can go into lesson 3, the previous one. I explain it in there. So, present simple, to describe how things regularly work. The team works in 2-week sprints. Product owner prioritizes the backlog. We hold a startup every morning. Those all sentences are present simple. The next, basic passive. It is to describe what is done. How do we build it? How do we create it? Basically, you have the item that performs an action, yeah, or the person that performs an action, and we put it on the background. It is not our main focus. Our main focus is the item or the person that we perform an action onto. So basically you have, for example, the backlog. Then you put the verb to be in the needed form. If it is present simple, you put it in M is R. Then you put your verb, your action, in the third column, or you add ed, right? And then you may end, but it is not necessary, but you may end with by a certain person by a certain, for example, team or company. Yep. Okay, it is a bit tricky, a bit difficult, but I think you understand. And let's go. How the Scrum process works. Step 1. The product backlog is created and prioritized. Step 2. The team meets for sprint planning. Tasks are selected from the backlog. Step 3. The sprint begins. The team works for 1-2 weeks. Step 4. A daily stand-up is held every morning for 15 minutes. Step 5. At the end, the increment is reviewed in a sprint review. Step 6. The team reflects in a retrospective. Step 7. The next sprint begins, and we start it all over again. Here is our little model description. Let's read and analyze. Our team follows the Scrum framework. Work is organized into 2-week sprints. At the start of each sprint, tasks are selected from the product backlog during a planning meeting. Every morning, a stand-up is held. Each team member shares what they are working on, what they completed, and if there are any blockers. At the end of the sprint, the increment is reviewed with stakeholders. Finally, the team meets for a retrospective to discuss what went well and what can be improved. Our velocity has been growing steadily over the last quarter. Let's note some things. Present simple for regular repeating processes. Follows, shares, meets. Passive structures for when the focus is on the action and not the person. Is organized, are selected, is held, is reviewed. And I'm deeply sorry. And Scrum vocabulary used naturally and in the right order, right? Let's watch out for some common mistakes. We are working sprints. We work in sprints. This present simple, so we do not need any M is R before the action, before the verb. The backlog is managed by the PO. The backlog is managed by the product owner. We do a stand-up every mornings. We hold a stand-up every mornings. Agile and Scrum are the same thing. Agile and Scrum are not the same thing. Agile is philosophy, Scrum is a specific framework. The sprint is finished every 2 weeks. The sprint ends or the sprint is completed every 2 weeks. Finished cannot be used really in the passive voice in this way. It's better to use end or completed. Let's have a little quick check. Pause the video, complete this task, and we're going to discuss it afterwards. I'm giving you 20 seconds, take your time, and let's go on. Well, I hope you paused the video and completed the task, and let's discuss. Work is organized into 2-week sprints. The product contains all the tasks the team needs to complete. Backlog. The product backlog contains. Every morning, a stand-up is held by the team. At the end of sprint, the team holds a retrospective to discuss improvements or even retrospective meeting. Number 5, tasks are selected from the backlog during sprint planning. Wonderful, wonderful, great job, you guys. Let's go on a little speaking challenge. Could you please describe how your team works? And if your company, if your team does not use Agile, let's imagine that you actually do use Agile, so you can actually use this structure. And a little question for the comments. Does your team use Agile or Scrum? What is your favorite ceremony and why? If you do use, of course. And if you do not use Agile, which ceremony do you think would be most useful for your work? And when it comes to workbook, I am not going to provide it to you in this video, but as always, you can find it in our Telegram channel and complete it in there. Thank you so much for joining me for this video, and I hope to see you next time in the next one. Stay safe.